In a faith formation class of young children, the catechist asked a question to the children. She said, "Tell me, who is the most important woman in the Bible? Who is the most important woman in the Bible?" And she expected, when she saw hands going up, she said, "Oh, I know that they're going to say Mary. I just know that." Well, she called on this one little boy, and he said, "Well, I have the answer." And she said, "Well, what is the answer?" And the little boy said, "The most important woman in the Bible is Eve." And so the catechist said, well, why is that? Why do you think Eve is the most important woman in the Bible? And the little boy said, "Because she has 2 days of the year named after her, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve." From the mouths of children. So today, I think as we hear our readings, we can really concentrate more not on Eve, but really on the importance of the Blessed Mother upon Mary, because really it was Mary who said yes to God to be the mother of his Son. It was Mary who said yes to really that gift of salvation. When the angel came to Mary, we notice that the language that's used is maybe not our commonplace language. He said, "Hail, full of grace." Hail, full of grace. You know, we take for granted words like hello, but you know, the word hello didn't even come into our English language until the late 1800s. That's pretty remarkable, isn't it? That it wasn't until the late 1800s when Alexander Graham Bell didn't know what to say when someone called him on the phone. And he actually suggested that maybe instead of the first word that you should say when you answer the phone was ahoy. Now, that would be kind of odd, I think, if we today answered the phone ahoy. You know, we'd think we were out on boats or ships, but it was Thomas Edison who actually suggested hello, that would be a better word. And so that's kind of how that came in. So when the angel came to Mary, he didn't say, "Hello, Mary, how are you doing today?" Rather, the angel said, "Hail," look at this beautiful word, "full of grace." What did the angel recognize there in this young girl, this young teenage girl? Recognized in her this beauty of innocence, this beautiful vessel. As we heard in the first reading about David being concerned about what kind of place that the Ark of the Covenant should be in, what sort of vessel should there be for it? You know, what should there be? Should it have a cedar shake roof? Should it be made of gold? Well, you know, we are vessels also. We are vessels. We are like pottery on the wheel, constantly being formed by the Almighty. And that's a good thing, because if we look at pottery when it's up on the shelf or when it has plants in it outside, it's kind of dried out and it cracks very easily. But for Mary, when God talks about us as being vessels, he talks about us being constantly formed. It's just a beautiful image to have, that we're always on that potter's wheel, always being made to be more beautiful for our God. And so Mary was a beautiful vessel. She was a perfect vessel. So David may have been worried about the Ark of the Covenant, about where to place this Holy of Holies. But really we can think of how God's plan had Mary as the place where Jesus would rest. Really, out of all of the people, out of all of the ways that God could have come into the world, you know, if God wanted to really make such a difference in the world, he could have had some cosmic explosion and Jesus fall out of the sky at the age of 30, wearing flowing robes and just kind of coming forward and doing all this great ministry. Could have been an earthquake or something, and suddenly this castle rise up and all made of gold, and everybody would have been in such awe. But no, when God wanted to save us, you and me, all of us together, he said, "I'm going to be coming into the world as each one of us came into the world." We have an incredible bond with Jesus, because he entered the world in the same way that we did. And Mary was such an important part of that. because she said yes. Pope Benedict, Emeritus now Benedict, who, by the way, recently in an interview said that he didn't want to be called Pope Emeritus Benedict, but in his incredible humility, he said, I just want to be known as Father Benedict. What a beautiful thought that this man who was one of the most powerful men in the whole world, that now he just wants to be known as Father Benedict to get back to his roots. Well, when he was the Pope and before he retired in 2008, he went to Australia for World Youth Day. And at this place where he celebrated Mass in a racetrack with all of the young people, he made a beautiful comment about the Annunciation and about the Blessed Mother. And he compared the Annunciation, the angel coming to Mary, to a marriage proposal. And he said at the time of the Annunciation, when the angel visited Mary, it was as if God made a marriage proposal to the human race. And on our behalf, Mary said yes. What a wonderful thought. You know, we think of that bond that exists in marriage, that the two shall become as one. That God wanted us so much to be with Him, to be one with Him, to be united with Him in His Son, that He made a marriage proposal to all people, all people. And on our behalf, Mary said yes. Today, as we celebrate her yes, her receptivity, her receiving that message from the angel, her receiving God into her womb, when we celebrate that gift of Mary saying yes to salvation for each one of us, for the whole world, for all ages. It's a chance maybe for us as well in these few days before Christmas, when things get kind of hectic, to say, how are we going to receive God this Christmas? I wonder what God is asking of us. How do we receive those messages that the Lord gives to us of saying, do you know, I need you to be more patient? Are we going to say yes to that as we look into the eyes of the Christ child in our own nativity scene? Maybe God this Christmas is sending a message to us to say, I need you to be more humble. Maybe I need you to be more generous. Maybe I need you to be more compassionate. He may not be asking us, He's not asking us to carry the Savior in ourselves in the same way that Mary did. We do that in the Eucharist every week when we receive the Lord. But He is asking us to receive from Him in a new and special way. So in these few days, maybe these just few hours before the celebration of the most incredible and most important event that really happened when Christ came into this world, how open are we, our spirit, our soul, to God speaking to us?